It smells good actually. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Mahala. Today's project is a buffet. Isn't it beautiful? I have some really cool plans. Well, I think they're really cool, and I hope you do too. But I've got some plans ready in mind for this. I've had an idea for much too long that I haven't had the opportunity to actually put into action. There's going to be some really fun changes to this buffet, and I think that it's going to be for the better. But before I can actually do any of the fun stuff, I need to do the not so fun stuff, which is cleaning and removing the hardware. I mean, I'm just indifferent to removing the hardware, but cleaning is not my favorite thing. However, it's super important. I'm going to use this Dawn dish soap today. And the reason I'm using Dawn dish soap is because it's got degreasing properties, which is what you need when cleaning furniture, just to make sure you're getting rid of all of that muck and grime, and you know, that there's nothing that's gonna ruin your paint when you pop it on. Let's get to it. The cleaning is all done, and it's time to do some repairs across the body of the dresser and also on the drawers and the doors. I'm going to use this Lepage wood filler. So you can see that there's a fair amount of damage here on this corner in particular, and then there's also a little bit of damage here, over here as well, and then running along the top here you can see that there's lots of marks and gouges, so they will all have to be repaired before I can actually start sanding. I have a surprise. Are you ready? I can't believe it. You get it? Cane, and can't. Yeah, a lot funnier in my head. But I'm probably going to end up making it the title of this video. I'm going to use cane inside the door frames. So while the putty is drying on everything else, I'm going to try and give a little love tap to the inserts in the door. There's teeny tiny little nails that seem to be holding it in place. I'm hoping that there's no glue or anything else, but we'll have to wait and see. Won't know until I try. So let's give this a go. I won't lie, I was definitely terrified doing that. I thought I might break the frame or that it wasn't gonna work. I'm so happy it did. There's definitely a couple little nails that are inside the frame that I'll have to remove, and then I will have to just sand in and around that edge to make it nice and smooth. But it worked. With my scuff sanding all complete, it's now time to flip the body of the buffet on its back and then sand down the base of it to the natural wood. Flipping this over also gives me an opportunity to see what's going on underneath, and let me tell you, there are cobwebs. So they gotta go. So I can see that there's actually just one of these on the furniture feet, so I'm gonna try and get this off just using my rubber mallet and this putty knife. So you can see here on the base of this, it's not actually a solid wood base along here. The feet are actually completely solid wood, but this has a wood veneer on it. Now I'm going to see if I can very carefully sand off the varnish on the wood veneer and keep it natural. Oh my god, I am hot, I am sweaty, but I'm done. For now, at least. I have, oh my gosh, I just sweat everywhere. Whew. I'm done with sanding the base down, which is so exciting because it took a very long time to complete this step. I was dealing with wood veneer, so I had to be extra careful, and when working with wood veneer, if you mess up, you mess up, and it is a tough one to cover up. I know that there's a couple spots on the backboard that I went just teetering on the edge of breaking through that veneer, which is less than ideal, but at least it was at the back, so that is a positive. After doing my scuff sand, sanding down the base, I am dusty, I am sweaty, and I gotta clean up all of the mess that I've made. So I'm gonna do that, and then I think it's time for painting. I've got this piece all dusted off, it's ready to paint. I need to do a little bit of taping because when it comes to keeping in the lines, it is not my strong suit. I see some furniture flippers on YouTube who have the precision that I dream of. You may be thinking, Mahala, why in the world are you taping the back of this piece? Why would you waste paint there? And you would be right. I probably don't need to do this. However, I have made the decision to paint this section here, this middle section here, and then obviously the base of it I'm going to do in my paint wash. It just makes sense to kind of have I don't know, a more uniform look. It may be a little unorthodox, a little paint wasteful, but it's what I'm gonna do today because I just think it's gonna look better. Today's paint color is, I need to practice my drum rolls, Coal Black by Fusion Mineral Paint. I love Fusion Mineral Paint, if you haven't noticed, so it just made sense to go with a Fusion Mineral, it just made sense to go with Fusion Mineral Paint in Coal Black. I've not used this particular color before, but I definitely want it to be super black, so Fusion, don't let me down. I'm also going to use my Bennett brushes. I love these Bennett brushes. I just got them from the hardware store. They're chalk paint brushes. I really like how they work with the Fusion mineral paint. So they're what I'm going to use today. Let's get this paint on. I'm so excited. Got my first coat of paint on. Before I can move on to coat number 2, I need to just buff this out a little bit to make sure that I'm getting rid of any bumps or fine bits of fluff or whatever that's got into the paint while it's been drying. I've put 3 coats of paint on the body of the buffet, on the drawer fronts, and on the front of the door frames. I've just done the first coat on the inside of the door frames, so I need to let that dry for a little bit and then come back and do 2 more coats on that. In the meantime though, I really wanted to get started on the base of the dresser. I've already mentioned that I'm planning to do a paint wash for the base of the dresser, and I was tossing up between these 2 colors. The first one that I was considering is called Champlain. I'm trying to learn French, and this reads like it should be spoken with a French accent. So there was that color option. And then this one, it is called, I just listened to a video on how to pronounce this. I'm gonna watch the video again. I listened to the video. It's called Algonquin. Now, both of these paints you can see here are very different colors. This is a lot creamier. This has got a lot more brown tones in it. And if I look at these paints against the Rattan, I actually think that this one, the Algonquin, is going to be better in matching the warmer tones that I'm wanting to go for, and it's not going to create so much of a whitewashed look on the base. That's what I'm going to go with for my paint wash. Let's do this. To mix up my paint for the paint wash, I'm using this glass jar, a paddle pop, or whatever it's called, a mixing stick. I'm going to take some of the water out of my mister, and then the paint as well. I think I'll pop the paint in first just to make sure that I get... No. Oh god. Ah, yes. Strength. That's the consistency that I've got it at, and I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to use my paint triangles just to prop this piece up so that I can get to all of the nooks and crannies that I need to. Prepare your ears for some ASMR. You're welcome. It's time to do the top coat on the buffet, the drawers, and the door frames. Originally I was thinking that I'd just do the top and then maybe use a wax for the body, but the top coat that I'm going to use is just so smooth and easy to use, and wax is a little bit more effort. So I think for today I'm going to stick with my original plan. This is the Fusion Mineral Paint Tough Coat in clear, or in flat matte, clear matte, in just matte. I really like matte finish, it's my preference. This does have a teeny touch of a sheen to it in my opinion. I'd probably say that it's a little on the satin side, and with Fusion Mineral Paint you don't actually have to do a top coat. For a buffet, I just want to protect it, so I'm going to use this. Then I'm also going to use my Country Chic sponge, and it's very simple. All you have to do with this is you spray down the sponge. All you have to do with the tough coat is that you wet the sponge with a mister and then you apply the tough coat. It makes it go on very smooth and very easy. I've also got this little brush here if I need to get into some smaller details. I can't believe the time has finally come. What's that? Did this dirty Rattan scoundrel actually make the same joke again? Yes, she did. And you're just gonna have to love me for it. It is time to organize the cane for the doors of this piece. I am over the moon about this. I need to unroll this. It's a really big roll and I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to measure out how much cane I'm going to need for the interior of the doors. Then I need to soak it in warm water for about 30 minutes before I can actually pop it in. By soaking it in warm water, it just makes it a little bit more malleable, and when you do pop it on, it will tighten as it dries and give you like that really firm cane look and feel that obviously we want. I'm going to get to cutting this up and popping it into the warm water in my bathtub. Seems like the best place to do it. I've got my cane here, it's ready to go inside the doors. I'm going to use this staple gun here. It's just a hand staple gun. One day I will maybe get something a little more high-tech. And then these 8mm staples. I obviously need to trim this down a little bit still, even though I did cut it down for the soaking process, it's still too big. I'm not sure if it's actually going to work with my arrow stapler. I could hot glue it. That might be a better plan. To hot glue this down, I'm going to have to cut it perfectly to the right shape and not have any overhang, and use my Gorilla hot glue gun. When I had to revisit the idea of using a staple gun to put in the rattan, and I had to use hot glue instead, it just made this inside section look really unfinished, and that's not what I want. So I had to pick up some wooden dowels, which I got these from Michael's. There's two different sizes here. I am actually going to use the slightly thinner size. The wooden dowels are going to sit inside the frame of it, much like this. I've got this fancy little device which should give me my nice 45-degree angle. Unfortunately I don't have smaller clamps, so I'm going to try and clamp with this, and I've got my bigger saw here. The first step is for me to measure out the inside frame of the door, and then after that I will pop those measurements on my wooden dowels, cut them, and have it work perfectly and flawlessly the first time. The cuts are pretty rough, which is to be expected because they're very thin pieces and I'm still honing my skills. So I need to give it a little bit of a light sand down and try and maintain the integrity of that 45-degree angle. So I'm just going to use my 320 grit from my orbital sander and just lightly sand that down and make sure that it fits inside both of the door frames. I've already taped off the two doors. I'm ready to be painted. I will be using this again to do the cane. I've just finished putting on 2 coats of paint onto the rattan. I also had to go in with a small little artist brush as well, just to get into some of those details because rattan is so overlapping. It meant that you could see some of the yellowing of the rattan coming through with this more browny taupey color. How do you paint rattan? Let me know in the comments below because I really love rattan and I love sort of toning down that yellow color a little bit. So I'd definitely be keen to try out a couple different methods. So while this is drying, I'm going to set up to paint the inserts for the back of the doors, and I'm going to paint them black before I actually put them on. See if it needs any wood putty and then just touch up where I need to touch up, and then hopefully all of this starts to come together a little bit more. Okay. To paint these wooden dowels, I'm going to use an artist brush, just this little one here, and the Callback paint by Fusion. I'm finally ready to do the framing on the back of the doors. There is still some paint touch-ups that will need to be done to the rattan and to the wooden dowels and the door frames as well, but I feel like it's the time to just pop that on and do all the touch-ups as the last thing before I can finally put this whole thing together and show you how it's all turning out. It's definitely been a project that's taken a lot longer than expected, but I think it's been worth the wait. So let's glue. You guys, I'm in love. I managed to get these doors looking really schmick on the front and on the back. You can't even tell that the rattan was actually hot glued down, which is incredible, and that I had to put in some wooden dowels. So I'm beyond thrilled that this is finally done. It's looking beautiful, and that's all a furniture flipper can ask for. So the doors are done, the drawers are done, the buffet is done, top coats are being put on, and it's basically ready to be put back together now. So before I get to showing you the before and after of this furniture flip, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this furniture flip. If you want to show me a little love, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, the like button, whatever you want. You can do that below. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram, I do upload stories and pictures of my furniture flips, DIY projects and room makeovers as well on my Instagram. I've also just started a TikTok, which I will link below. I haven't put my first video on there, but you know what? If you're feeling extra friendly, follow me on there as well. So go and check me out on TikTok, on Instagram, and obviously you'll find me here every single week. But enough of that. Let's get to the part that you're actually here for, which is the before and after of this furniture flip. So let's flip this. Flip this.